Hello guys, this is JNM with the next Godot tutorial, and this time we will let our player jump. So we will extend our player script by adding the jump logic, but before I will do this, let me remove the capsule collision node because I resized the outer border, the rectangle in the editor the last time, and this is not recommended and could lead to strange behavior. So let's get rid of this and I will show you how to do this correctly. Okay, so I removed this collision shape 2D and again add a child node to the kinematics body 2D of the same type, collision shape 2D, and I will set the shape to a capsule shape 2D. Alright, but now I won't resize it in the editor. I will click this little icon here, this arrow, and I will get the properties, radius and height. And I will set it here to, let's say, 20, and I have to try which values will fit. Yeah, that's not bad. And we can move it around, but it is not allowed to scale it. Okay, I will increase the radius and now decrease the height. Yeah, I think this will match, and now we can move on to implement our script logic. So let's open the player script, and what I want to do is I want to let the player jump when I press the up arrow on my keyboard. By the way, somebody wanted to know how to map the actions you see in the editor, for example UI up or UI right, to keyboard keys. So that's actually pretty simple. Let me show this here. You just open the scene, project settings, and here you have an input map. And here you can define your action, for example UI up, and map a particular input, for example from the keyboard or the mouse, or also a gamepad. Okay, let's come back to the script and add the jump logic. We stopped the last time when the player is colliding with the ground or any other collision node, and then he should be able to jump. So I use the input class to check if the action UI up is pressed. This is in our case the up arrow key on the keyboard. And if this is done, I decrease the velocity in Y direction by a certain value. For example, 300. Or you know what, we will define a constant for this. And I will call this jump strength. And I set the value to 300. Alright, now let me use this in the code. And we can already test this. It seems to be really easy. It is not that easy, you will see this in a minute. But basically the logic works. So as you can see, I can jump. But we have a little problem here. For example, when we collide with the barrel, look at this, what happens. Oops, he's jumping really high. So let me explain why this happens. First we check if we are colliding with an object. What we really want to know is if we are not in the air. Then, when the UI up is pressed, we decrease the velocity to jump. But in the next call of the fixed process, it could be that we are still colliding, because when you regard the case with the barrel, then you notice that we are kind of sliding at this object. So each time this fixed process is called, the velocity is decreased again. And of course we have to avoid this, so let me show you a method on how we can do this. We have to define a kind of timer, or better to say a time span, in which we are not allowed to jump. Now I will define this time span here as a constant and initialize it to, let's say, 400 milliseconds. Or let's start with 1 second, why not? We have to try. 1 second after the last jump, the player shouldn't be allowed to jump again. So this is basically the logic to avoid unwanted jumping, and I will define a jump timer variable now that are set to the limit time span after a jump and that are count down in every call of fixed process. So first I check if the variable is greater than 0 before I decrease this, because I don't want the value to be less than 0. Okay, now let's move to the position where we actually jump. And here we initialize this jump allowed timer to the maximum, or to the limit value that we defined. Okay, great. Now we just have to check if this allowed timer value is less than the can jump time limit. I define a separate function for this. And if this is true, we are allowed to jump again. So this logic isn't absolutely bulletproof, but I think it will work. So let's start the game and try. Okay, he's jumping. And as you can see, we don't have this unwanted high jumps. Now this is avoided. Okay, I think we're happy, and by the way, this will also work with different shapes of obstacles. For example, if I change this collision object to something like this, and the player will also be able to cope with this kind of shape. Okay guys, I really liked the result, and I will again upload it to my Patreon account, and you can download the project from there for free. So I really hope you find this useful, and if you do, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel to be notified when the next video is online. And perhaps you consider supporting me on my Patreon. This would really help to keep the quality and quantity of my tutorials. Thanks a lot for watching this, and come back soon to JNM.